I've had a lovely day. So a bit knackered first thing because we'd had a late night driving up after work on Friday, and so we got up for a tide that was at about what, 8 o'clock?
Well, it was 8:20.
8:20 high water, but that all went to plan. And then we motored over in very calm conditions to Loch Spelve, and then got through the entrance and thought, why don't we go left, not right? And so we've come down to the south anchorage, which we've only been to once, and didn't really like it very much last time, but that was 17 years ago.
It was like a wind tunnel on a bleak day in a very small boat.
Yeah.
And we didn't take to it at all.
No, but now it's rather lovely.
Today it's a different kettle of fish. There's no wind to sail, but it makes it a nice evening to go kayaking.
It certainly does. Yeah, this one's a seaplane, this one, I think. That's fascinating. Is that a wheel? That's a vehicle of some sort there, is it?
It looks like an old one. It's got rubber tyres. I can see a gearbox. Do you think it's a car that's come off the road?
Good God.
Or been ditched off the road, I don't know.
Hard to say, isn't it? What a place to come off.
Looking at the wheels and stuff, it looks like 40s or 50s or something like that.
That looks to me like cylinders.
That's 2 vehicles. I think people have just used it as a place to ditch old vehicles.
That's going to give marine archaeologists of the future something to think about. That's beautiful. That oyster catcher's getting a bit carried away, isn't it?
They're very chirpy little chaps, aren't they?
Yes.
They get quite excited quite easily.
Yes, a bit like me really.
Yes, yeah, a lot like you.
Well, I've enjoyed our little paddle.
Yeah.
I can't believe how much nicer the south end of the loch is than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah. It's funny, you get set into an idea because you once had a pretty dismal day here that it's always like that.
No, very nice, and I'm looking forward to tomorrow and hopefully getting ashore with the bikes and going for a bit of a pedal over to Lochbuie.
I must admit, I'm looking forward to that. If the weather's anything like today, I think it would be great.
And now I'm ready for my tea. Right, off we go to Lochbuie. I don't remember a nicer day.
It's definitely summer, isn't it?
Can't get over how warm it is.
And so how are you doing after a year off cycling?
Well, this gentle hill is proving quite challenging enough.
There's actually very little descent according to the map.
I'm delighted to hear that.
But I think it won't feel like that.
this way looks like it's all shady.
Yeah.
Because we're in tropical Scotland.
It is melting the yacht today.
And I think we need a shady spot for a picnic.
That sounds like such a good idea. Oh, this is a bit more like it.
Yeah.
A bit cooler.
Castle, stronghold of Clan MacLean of Lochbuie, on land granted from the Lord of the Isles in the 14th century. The tower house commands a wide prospect of Lochbuie, which provided easy boat landing. On the loch shore are 2 rows of large boulders forming a boat landing, and an arc of similar stones, possibly indicating an artificial anchorage or fish trap. The landward side was protected by a barmkin wall, and most of the fabric is attributed to the 15th century. Considerable changes occurred in the 16th century or early 17th, with a large fireplace added on the upper levels, corner turrets and cap house to the west corner. The castle was abandoned during the more peaceful times in about 1752. A new house was built at this time, which now forms part of the steading opposite the castle. The present Lochbuie house was built between 1788 and 1790, with later 19th century and early 20th century additions. Let's go and have a look. What a day.
The shade's good.
Yeah. Yeah, somewhere shady with a bit of wind ideally.
Yeah.
Oh, the irises are coming out.
We set off. What time did we set off? It was
too early.
Too early. Well, only because it was a very long day yesterday of being out in the sun.
Yeah.
I think I could have slept for a week this morning.
Yeah.
But we've got a tide to catch.
What got me up early this morning was knowing that it was absolutely flat calm and that there was a beautiful boat called Bessie Ellen anchored next to us.
Yes.
And that if I could be bothered to get out of bed, I might get a lovely shot of her.
And she's set off exactly the same time as we did, and she's over there.
Yay! Follow that ketch.
So we're heading out of Loch Spelve, heading back across the Firth of Lohan to Loch Feochan again.
I don't want to go home. I want to stay out and play, but I've only got 4 days, and then I'll be back.
what was this journey all about yesterday morning?
Oof. Well, because we've got 2 weeks, and because the forecast for the next few days is quite good, we thought, let's see if we can stretch our legs a little bit and get a bit further afield. We set off from Loch Feochan and set off a little bit before high water, so it gave us time to get to the area around Duich Castle on Mull before the tide was really too much against us.
Yeah.
So we didn't have any problems with overfalls or anything like that. And then we basically headed up the Sound of Mull against the tide, but because it's pretty much, I think it was one day after Neeps, we didn't have too much tide, and yeah, had quite a good passage all the way up to Buidhe after we got the anchor down, had a bit of dinner. There was the most gorgeous sunsets that had been drizzling towards the end of the day, but then that eased off and the light just came through to the west, but against some really stormy clouds, so it was really pretty and very, very still. And then all the anchor lights around Buidhe, because there were I think there were 11 boats in last night, looked really pretty, kind of offset against this sunset.
So here we are on a broad reach, going around the Eilean point. So what's the plan for the next day or two?
Well, we're taking advantage of light southwesterly winds to make our passage around Eilean, and we're heading up to the Small Isles. We're probably going to anchor in Loch Spelve, but we'll find out when we get there.
So we got the option of, after that, either heading out to Outer Hebrides, maybe Lochbuie, but that's looking like there might be too stronger winds coming through. So we can also go the opposite way, which is up the Sound of Sleat, and then maybe head towards the Inner Sound. But I guess we'll find out when we get the next forecast what the next plan is. But just right now, Eilean Lighthouse is just appearing, or has appeared while we've been talking.
Cool. This is perfect conditions though, isn't it? Because for Eilean this is quite smooth.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, we've got light winds. What have we got, about 10? Oh, our wind indicator's given up again, hasn't it?
Yeah,
I would guess this is about 10 knots, and I would say it's just forward of the beam. And yeah, she loves this point of sail.
This is serious. You're unzipping the sides, dear. Is it summer yet?
It's glorious. We were once here in really lovely weather, and you could see the peaks were clear, it was warm, and I thought, right, it'll never be this good again, I'll never see the top of Rum again. I was wrong.
Yeah, you certainly can see it today. It was a very early start today, wasn't it?
I can't remember, I was asleep.
I got out of bed before 6 anyway, which is for me is reasonably early. Well, actually, I was up taking photographs at 4 o'clock in the morning.
You were. You showed me, and they looked stunning.
Yeah, well, there was this commotion, and it turned out to be a seagull dancing up and down on the cabin top at 4 a.m. in the morning, directly above where I was sleeping. We set off from the Isle of Rum, Loch Spelve, and what happened next?
Well, it was really quite a nice day. It wasn't going to break records for sailing because there wasn't a lot of wind. We had a very nice motor over towards the Sound Asleep and then up towards the Kyles, and the views were just stunning. It was lovely going past the mountains in Knoydart, and yeah, the views over to the Coolin on Skye were just absolutely lovely.
I remember particularly coming across from Rum and seeing Loch Nevis in front of us with Mallaig to its south, and it just looks so inviting, such a big mountainous loch. And then you hang a left and not long before you're going past Lochbuie. But we basically timed the whole endeavour. We went to the Kyles and we needed to be there because it runs up to 8 knots at Springs. We timed it to try and be there just on the turn before the flood, and we actually made it slightly early, but the tide had already turned. It was a very naughty tide, but it was fine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a really nice, gentle passage through.
Yeah.
Not many boats about.
No, there wasn't really.
Did a little bit of sailing when we got on the far side, because there was a tiny bit of wind, but then that died, so we went back to motoring.
Yeah, I think we did about, what was it, 6 or 7 hours of passage, and I think it was about 40 minutes of sailing, something like that.
Back to Skye are amazing.
Yeah, it turns into a nice day.
And then we got here and tried anchoring, and there's certainly strange currents in this bay.
Well, this is an interesting anchorage, quite compact. We normally are pretty, though I say so myself, pretty good at anchoring, but it took a couple of goes, didn't it?
Yeah, first go, yeah, we weren't really happy that it had dug in, or at least it had dug in, but it took a while, so that took us closer to that reef over there than I think either of us was really comfortable with. Second time we were ready though, weren't we? It went a treat. This is Totaig Bay.
Totaig Bay. And there's a couple of boats on moorings here, and it's a nice spot, but really the reason why we're here, I suppose, other than the fact it's a convenient place to stop north of the Kyle, is that it's opposite Donan Castle. And we've been thinking about popping around here for a while, because nothing beats a good castle.